What's up, guys? HockeyTikTockey is back with an all new video. Today we're going to be talking about my final predictions for the Calgary Flames lineup and who's going to be playing and who's going to be sent back down or not playing on the NHL roster. So I'm going to do it sort of line by line one more time because I really think that the coaches and everybody, the management, kind of have a plan for how they're going to structure the team for the beginning of the season. And it's just a couple final guys that they have to make cuts on or make a decision on, and whether or not they want to play them on the fourth line or where or how they're going to keep them into the lineup. So let's get right into it. So line one, for me, I have Jonathan Huberdeau, Martin Pospisil, Anthony Mantha. This is going to be the scoring line. These guys are going to go out there when the Flames need a goal, when they are looking to take control of the offense of the game. Maybe they have an offensive zone start or have been putting a lot of pressure on the other team and are trying to capitalize on it and get some goals. Line two is going to be the Yegor Sharangovich, Nazem Kadri, Andrei Kuzmenko line. This line, I think they could be a scoring line as well. Sharangovich had like 31 goals last season. He had a breakout year, and Kuzmenko was one of our most dynamic, scoring players when we acquired him from Vancouver. So I think combined with Kadri on that line, they could also be a heavy threat when it comes to offense. But if need be, they can start in the neutral zone. They could start on in the defensive zone as well, if in a pinch. So that would kind of be my line two after the scoring line. Line three is Michael Backlund's line. Him and Blake Coleman have been paired together for pretty much since Coleman got here, and he got here 3, 4, 5 seasons ago. I can't even remember, but whoever slots with them would be sort of known as the shutdown line, the line that you put out against Connor McDavid's line, or you put out against Nathan McKinnon's line. You put out against somebody who is always a threat to score. You want to have Michael Backlund taking the face-off against them because he's the strongest in the face-off. Just taking face-offs. So I think he'd be great at playing third line shutdown roles, whenever the Flames are trying to get it out of their end and turn the play back up towards the other end. That's where Michael Backlund's line comes in. Oh, and Connor Zary would be playing on that line as well. And I think with those three lines, with Martin Pospisil, Nazem Kadri, and Michael Backlund as the three centers. 1, 2, 3. Pospisil, Kadri, Backlund. You have three sort of different styles of players that can kind of do different things. And then on the third line, Connor Zary, I think he has the potential to play center as well. But it might be a good idea to have him hone his game with Michael Backlund's line for now, kind of get really good at the defensive end of things. And then in a pinch, if need be, they can switch him with Martin Pospisil because they're both young guys. They're both, blossoming players. So maybe he could work as an offensive center as well. Line four is the one where we got to make the decisions about who is going to be playing there. In the last game, which was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It might have been 2 days ago. The Flames had Adam Klapka playing on a line with Kevin Rooney and Ryan Lomber. So that's who I predict will be the starting fourth line for the Flames. And I think that's a really good combination there because Adam Klapka is a huge guy. He's one of the biggest players in the NHL and the biggest player on the Flames right now, in terms of just sheer size. And that's always good to have on a fourth line that kind of just needs to crush and grind out for the other team. Kevin Rooney is a very serviceable fourth line center. He doesn't do anything really great, but he doesn't do anything bad either. He can kind of just chip the puck in, get it deep whenever he needs to. And then finally, Ryan Lomberg. He's an energy guy. He's the type of guy that would, fight or, kind of disturb the peace if need be. Even though he's not the biggest guy, he brings energy to the team that, can kind of really muck it up with the other opposing forces. So that's who I would have on line 4 for now. And when it comes to forwards, I personally, this is my opinion, I think the Flames should carry 2 extra forwards to begin the season. And those 2 guys for me would be Jacob Pelche and Samuel Honzek to start the year. And the reason why, for these 2 players, I have good reasons why I want to keep them on, is because Honzek has played so well in the preseason so far that he's earned himself a spot. It might not make that much sense to have him sitting out because I don't have him on the opening night roster. And I think a lot of people might think that would make more sense to have him play. But I think at least to start the year, having him sit out just for a little bit, maybe to just get more sort of behind the scenes experience, practice with the team, kind of feel what it's like to be a true NHL pro, might make sense for him. And in a pinch, if somebody's not playing well, if somebody gets injured, if somebody is not really at the level that they need to be at in the first week of the season, maybe it's only 3-4 games in, they can easily swap him in and out of the lineup almost anywhere, in my opinion. Almost anywhere. Except for, obviously, he's not going to play on the first line center position or something like that. But, pretty much when it comes to the wing, you can kind of just get him in there, put him somewhere, flip some things around if need be. And the same thing could be said about Jacob Pelche as well. This one was a tough one to decide, but I feel like it made more sense to keep Jacob Pelche on the roster, even if he's not playing at the same level as somebody like Samuel Honzek or somebody like Matthew Coronado, because of the waiver thing. The waiver thing is if he gets sent down to the minors, another team can just take him for nothing, steal him off the roster for absolutely nothing. So that's why I'd keep him up. I know that's kind of a bad reason, but I think it just makes more sense right now. We might see something change down the road, but just to safe bet it, to make sure that he doesn't get claimed by another team that might want him, keep Jacob Pelche up with the Flames for now. And then again, with an injury, with maybe if somebody's not doing too well, they can switch him in and out of the lineup if need be. So those are my forward groups. Then on defense, this is who I have as my defensive pairings. Mackenzie Weegar will be the first sort of starting D, number 1 D pair, with Daniil Miramanov. I really like that pair. I think that Miramanov is going to take a big step this year. He's going to be the type of guy who, shows that he's worth a lot more than the opportunity he's been presented so far in his career. He actually started off as a forward when he was younger and didn't switch to playing defense until very, very late into his development as a pro. And I think that's really cool. That's really interesting because you don't see that very often. And I think what that means is he has a lot more instincts when it comes to playing like a forward, which you see that a lot now in today's style of game. There is so many examples of NHL defensemen that could be forwards. One of them that comes to mind right away is down in Colorado, a Norris Trophy winner, Cale Makar. Or how about Quinn Hughes of Vancouver? These types of guys could practically play forward, but they're just slotted in that defense position. So I think Miramanov has that potential. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Daniil Miramanov is the next Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes, but I'm just saying he can be sort of like that type of player, that type of defenseman that has very good offensive instincts and is not afraid to kind of like take the puck up in on a rush if he has the chance. If it turns over in the neutral zone and suddenly you've got three guys coming up and one's a defenseman, he's not going to get scared and not know what to do in that situation. He'll have the offensive instincts to kind of like jump up into the rush and be a part of the offense of play when the opportunity presents itself. And Mackenzie Weegar, he can be sort of like insurance or safety policy if Daniil gets caught out of position. So I really like that pairing. And then the second pair I have is Kevin Ball and Rasmus Anderson. Very similar to Weegar and Ball. One guy is more defensive, one guy is more offensive. So I think in that one, it would be more like Anderson could be the sort of guy that can jump up into a rush. We've seen him score a ton before where it's him and two forwards kind of coming up together, like as though they're, a unit, even in overtime, like 3-on-3 overtime, we've seen Rasmus Anderson score like that before. So that's why I think that's a great pair as well, Ball and Anderson. And then the final pairing I have is Jake Bean, and Tyson Barrie as the final pairing. And then as an extra defenseman, Braden Pahal. I think Braden Pahal has truly earned that final spot as being the seventh defenseman with his great play throughout the preseason. And I think he can fill in perfectly as a replacement for any of these other guys in case there is an injury, or if there is a game where you need a little bit more of a tough guy, a big guy, a guy that doesn't, isn't afraid to kind of go out there and be a bit more of a force to kind of fight or like try to muck some things up. That's what I think Pahal is really good at. So I would have Pahal as my seventh defenseman to start the season. And I'm looking down the road a little bit too, because I think that Tyson Barrie is the perfect trade bait for later on in the season. I made a video about this earlier this week about why Barrie was a good signing, and then they signed him. And I still think that to this day, the plan is to sign him, get him a ton of points, maybe play him as a power play guy. Maybe he could be on the second power play unit, get a ton of points, and then trade him away later. Get a pick back for him for free, basically. Because the signing didn't cost the Calgary Flames very much. And he's a very serviceable and really good offensively minded defenseman. So those are my three pairings. I have Weegar, Miramanov, Ball and Anderson, Bean and Barrie, with Braden Pahal being the seventh guy. Finally, we get to net, the goalies. In goal, I have Dustin Wolf starting as the first, number one starting goaltender. I have Dan Vladar as the backup. Unfortunately, that means we got to send back Logan Cooley down to the minors. Hopefully, he clears the waivers and nobody steals him from the Flames. And I think as a replacement level goalie, if we ever need another goalie in case one of these two guys gets injured, obviously we're never hoping or thinking about injuries, but they're a part of the game. But if either Vladar or Wolf gets injured, Cooley seems like he would be the perfect guy to come up and be a replacement for either one of those guys. So that's my lineup to start the year. Let me know in the comments guys, what you would change, who would you swap out if this is anything similar. If you have a completely different setup that you want to see, comment it down below. If you're liking the channel, if you're liking the podcast that I do so far, help me out by subscribing and hitting the notification bell.